Imagine waking up tomorrow, reaching for your phone in the dark, and seeing the same headline on every screen. Vladimir Putin has died. Within minutes, stock markets begin to fall. Television channels switch to breaking news. Intelligence agencies scramble to confirm the reports. And military commanders from Washington to Beijing immediately begin reviewing emergency plans. Global attention moves past the physical survival of the country. Every major capital focuses on the sudden absence of a predictable hierarchy in a nation with 6,000 nuclear warheads and an ongoing war. Putin functions as the central hub for the Russian bureaucracy, holding ministries and military commands together. If that hub suddenly vanishes, the parts don't stop existing, but they instantly lose the logic telling them how to work together. Banks, trains, and power grids continue to function, but the people running them no longer know who is giving the orders. The danger is the friction created as everyone left behind fights to occupy that empty space. The most urgent question for every government on Earth is who holds authority over the Russian nuclear arsenal in these first hours. Russia uses multi-layered authorization protocols and secure communication networks designed to keep the chain of command intact during a leadership transition. The system is built specifically to prevent a single individual from acting alone or making a mistake during a crisis. Under Russian law, the path forward is clearly defined. The Prime Minister, currently Mikhail Mishustin, automatically becomes the acting president, holding the position temporarily until a new election can be organized. To prevent domestic panic, the Kremlin would project a sense of absolute control. State media would broadcast messages of unity, military units would maintain their normal routines, and public services would run as if nothing had changed. This projection prevents the flight of capital, the erosion of local authority, and the risk of neighbors sensing a moment of weakness. In a nuclear state, the mere perception of a fracture can trigger a self-fulfilling security crisis. While the streets remain calm, a quiet struggle would begin behind the palace walls. Factions that have spent decades operating under one man would suddenly have to size each other up. The security services, regional governors, senior military commanders, and influential business figures all have their own interests. Each group would immediately begin calculating who among them can protect their careers and influence. The next permanent leader will likely be whoever can appease these powerful institutions. They need someone who can manage the military, the intelligence agencies, and the state-run industries without causing the system to tear itself apart. This internal shuffle would happen as the world watches the front lines in Ukraine, wondering if the death of the president ends the war. Military operations often continue through their own momentum. Commanders remain in place, supply lines keep moving, and troops follow existing orders. The machine of war does not require daily input from the top to keep grinding forward. The long-term strategy of the conflict would rest entirely on which Kremlin faction wins the hidden battle for succession. Within 48 hours, the impact would move from the battlefield to the global economy. Financial markets react poorly to the unknown, and a leaderless Russia is a massive variable. Russia is a primary exporter of oil, natural gas, wheat, and fertilizers. Much of the global supply chain is tied directly to the stability of these exports. If traders fear that a power struggle might disrupt these supplies, energy prices and inflation will spike globally. Countries with no direct connection to the war would suddenly see the cost of basic goods rise at home. Simultaneously, major capitals would enter a period of intense, quiet diplomacy. Leaders in Washington, London, and Brussels would race to establish a predictable line of communication with whoever is left in charge. In this specific window of transition, strategic partners and fierce rivals find themselves aligned. China and NATO both rely on a stable transition to avoid a spillover of violence or an economic contagion that neither side is prepared to handle. Miscommunication poses the most immediate risk. Two nervous nations, acting with incomplete intelligence, could easily misread a defensive military posture as an offensive one, sparking a conflict out of pure caution. History shows that states are usually more resilient than the people who lead them. The layers of administration and the basic needs of the society continue to function even after a dominant figure is gone. The coming months would reveal the new direction of the Russian state. Successors may double down on existing policies, attempt to salvage the economy through reform, or lose themselves in a fight for internal dominance. We remember the people at the center of great events, but the most unpredictable chapter for a powerful leader is often the one that begins the moment they are gone.